Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
This morning at Camp Shabbat, when I asked if any campers had a favorite team in the World Cup, a rush of hands flew into the air. Honestly, it felt like a risky question for such a young crowd, but I was overjoyed with the enthusiastic response. I called on the first little boy right here in the front row. "My family," said the 4-year-old. "Aw, that's a great team. Me too," I said. The next hand shot up. "Israel." Okay, a little closer. They aren't in the World Cup, but they are a country. Of course, one kid said Argentina, and a few adults cheered, and another said Messi, and then came horse. I think they thought I meant favorite animal, but that's okay. We're just naming favorites at this point. And finally, New Jersey. Clearly, the World Cup has not captured the hearts and minds of these 4 and under, but it certainly has for many, many others. Anyone who is anywhere near South Beach this week likely saw Scottish fans adorned in traditional kilts and sporrans, the little purses worn in Highland areas, with soccer jerseys on top. Despite their loss, the Scots I met were as happy as can be. One told me, "This is my first time in America," in a totally different accent that I'm not going to do right now. "Everyone has been so welcoming and open, the friendliest people I've ever met. From New York to Boston to Nashville to Miami, the World Cup has brought us here, but the people have made us want to stay." Alongside the coverage of games, which honestly I can't tell you that I followed very closely, there have been so many heartwarming stories about people's experiences. I was listening to a podcast the other day about visitors who came to the United States for the events, specifically a story about a Japanese fan in Texas. The one Japanese visitor described his reaction when the complimentary chips and salsa arrived at the table the second that he sat down. "They're free?" he asked. The waiter replied, "Yeah, they come with the table." "They come with the table?" the visitor replied in disbelief. "In my culture, hospitality creates a debt. Every gift creates an obligation. Here, the gift arrives before you've even proven you can pay for dinner. This is not an appetizer. This is a declaration. We trust you. Eat." There's something so beautiful about moments like that. The World Cup may be a soccer tournament, or football for some people, but it's also a rare opportunity for people of different cultures, languages, and backgrounds to encounter one another, not through headlines or social media, but through actual human interaction. Which led me to think about the impact of the World Cup. Forget the championship for just a moment. What does the world win? While only one team returns to their country with the trophy, everyone else comes home with stories. In the first of this week's double Torah portion, Chukat Balak, both Miriam, as the Rabbi mentioned earlier, and Aaron, 2 of our most influential leaders, die. Aaron's death is anticipated and marked by a ritual. Moses brings Aaron and his son Eleazar up Mount Hor, where Aaron's priestly garments are transferred to Eleazar, symbolizing the passing of leadership to the next generation. Aaron dies peacefully at the summit, and when Moses and Eleazar descend the mountain, the entire community mourns for 30 days. The rabbis of Pirkei Avot call Aaron to mind when discussing ethics. In the first chapter, Hillel famously teaches, "Be like the disciples of Aaron, loving peace and pursuing peace. Ohev shalom, verodef shalom." While we might imagine a lover and pursuer of peace operating on a grand stage of policy and politics, the commentator, Bartanura, understands this teaching in a far more personal way. Quoting Avot de Rabbi Natan, he explains that when Aaron saw 2 people quarreling, he would approach each separately and say, "Look how your friend regrets what happens and is deeply to have upset you. He asks me to come and seek your forgiveness." Then he would go to the other person and say the same thing. As a result, the next time they bumped into each other, they would embrace and hug. I love this reading of the ancient text because it feels so resonant today. When I imagine Aaron doing this, I first travel back to the wilderness. Imagine living with the same 40 people in the desert, for 40 years. Quarrels were inevitable. I picture Aaron stopping by someone's tent before bedtime or catching them before a meal. "Hey," he might say gently, "they didn't really mean it. They feel bad about how this is making you feel." He softens their heart, and then he goes to the other person and does the same. He creates a way for compassion to enter into the conversation. And then I think of Hillel, living at a time of deep communal divisions. We later teach that the Second Temple was destroyed because of what we call sinat chinam, senseless hatred among our own community. Perhaps Hillel looked back to Aaron and longed for conflicts that could still be healed through conversation and understanding. And then I think of Bartanura himself, leaving Italy for the land of Israel in the 15th century, helping to rebuild the Jewish communal life under difficult conditions. And finally, I think of us, all the way back here to now. No matter our politics, our worries, or the challenges facing our world, what an extraordinary thing it is to meet a Scot on the street, strike up a conversation, and suddenly humanize the entire country we otherwise only know through headlines and screens. What an extraordinary thing it is to sit at a table with someone who's different from us, share food, stories, and laughter, and discover that we have more in common than we could have ever imagined. How amazing it would be if we could pursue peace the way Aaron did, not waiting for it to find us, but actively chasing after it, not only between nations, but between neighbors, between friends, within families, and within ourselves. The problems of the world, they can feel overwhelming. We cannot fix everything. But when we focus on one person, one relationship, one act of kindness, then we can begin to repair the world. The text tells us that all of Israel mourned for Aaron for 30 days. The rabbis later see this verse as the origin of Shloshim, the 30-day period of mourning. While Shloshim eventually becomes a legal category observed for close family members, here the circle is much wider. It's the entire community. The Torah says, Vayivku et Aharon Shloshim Yom Kol Beit Yisrael. All the house of Israel mourned for Aaron 30 days. Why did everyone observe this first Shloshim? Because of who Aaron was. Because of the relationships that he built. Because of the way that he treated people and the way that he brought people together, one by one. Aaron's legacy was not simply that he served as the high priest, the first of the Kohanim. It was that he made people feel connected to one another, to their community, and ultimately to something much larger than themselves. And that is the win for the world and for humanity in the World Cup as well. The real win here is human connection. And that's exactly Aaron's legacy. That's what he was trying to teach us. Aaron did not pursue peace in the abstract or even only from the high level of leadership on which he sat. He built it among quarreling companions, creating harmony and strengthening community, one relationship at a time. Let us continue to live his legacy. Kol Yisrael, each and every one of us, has the power to pursue peace in this way. My prayer for all of us on this Shabbat is that we can become lovers and pursuers of peace, ohev shalom verodef shalom, not only in the global ways the world so desperately needs, but in the small, sacred ways that are always within our reach. May we soften hearts, welcome strangers, repair relationships, and remember that we're all a part of something bigger than ourselves. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.